Everybody, welcome to another episode of Low Tech Health. Let ourselves translate expert knowledge. Today is Meatless, Eatless, Mental Mushroom Monday. Hey. And this week is gonna be about reciprocity, reciprocation, giving back what you have received, hopefully in a positive nature. Speaking of nature, I'm outside among nature today because it is beautiful. I'm working tonight, even though, not much fan of working. I love what I do, but going in specific times for specific hours, couldn't we think of something else? Is there some kind of mental breakdown where we could just bring it in instead of clocking things out? Anyways, I've noticed that I don't really talk about a whole lot of health knowledge on this podcast. A little bit. I don't really live up to the let ourselves translate expert knowledge name that I've given it, though. So I'm going to try harder, starting with what episode of the 60, 67, 68. Going to have at least one theme for each podcast, something that's actually testable and measurable, smart, specific, attainable, realistic, and timely. So for this episode, it's about anemia, which is not a disease, but it's a lowered red blood cell count. So you've heard other people say it, I'm sure. I'm really cold. Can you close that door? I'm anemic. And then some smart ass will say, usually me, like, you need to eat more red meat. Why do they say that? Well, because you generally need iron in order to make those red blood cells. So iron is the precursor to creating a hemoglobin. I got it on the first try. Got a hair out of my eye right away. I celebrate to that one. Cheers. Coffee at 5:50. Yeah. So anemia is not related, or it's not a disease all on its own. It's almost always related to something else, and treatment is based on that underlying cause. It's not like you're anemic, well, just don't be. We'll cure it. It's usually, again, some sort of like iron deficiency, some possible like destructive syndrome where you're actually destroying the red blood cells, like thalassemia, or a megaloblastic, aplastic, any type of chronic disease that just eats away. And now anemias fall into the two major categories. There's underproduction of red blood cells and just overdestruction of those red blood cells. So the underproduction of the ones I was just talking about, iron deficiency, not getting enough meat in your diet, having some kind of thalassemia where your body just doesn't want to make it, just says, fuck this job, I don't think it's important, and there's just not enough red blood cell trucks, because what these red blood cells do, they're the trucks that carry oxygen to the destinations. They carry them to the gas stations, they carry them to the restaurants. Every single store space in your body needs oxygen. It is the ultimate currency of the body. We are creatures built off of oxygen. Without it, we are not able to survive. So these red blood cells are the lifeblood of our body. They carry these red blood, carry the oxygen in these trucks and get it to the right destination to keep your brain and your heart and your kidneys and everything alive, which is great. It's also important to take deep breaths. We always come back to the deep breaths because you don't want those trucks just running around half full or a quarter full. You want them just overfilling with oxygen in those trucks. Now the destructive anemias fall into the specifics of things like sickle cell anemia. I wonder if I should cover that. I'm not getting paid by these guys. I'm going to start covering that. Sickle cell, which is where the body has oddly shaped red blood cells. They're shaped like sickles, and they don't carry oxygen very well, because with a hemoglobin, it looks like a donut. And I'll use my hat. It has a wide lip that rides and keeps it from dunking, or just like really keeps it. Forget the bill. There's no bill. Just think of the inside. So it carries oxygen in the hat, and it's this shape. It's a circle. It's a circle. But a sickle cell is shaped like a banana. You can't carry much in a banana, can you? Carry way more in a bowl. So their bananas run around through their blood, and it that gets gunked up, gets bunched up at the ends, at the fingers, the toes, and there's extreme pain with sickle cell crises. You have to flood them with fluid, and they're on a lot of pain medication because it's just almost impossible to manage that amount of pain because the blood is sickling, that's what they call it. It's just stopping and bunching up at the ends of their extremities, their hearts. You can have heart attack symptoms where you're just having extreme chest pain because the blood doesn't flow. It's scary. Also, their hemochromatosis, polycythitis. There's lots of different overdestructive red blood cell, overdestructive anemias. I haven't looked at them since nursing school. You don't see them very often, like acquired hemolytic diseases or hemochromias, polycytha. What is that? I have to look that up. For those online, send it in. But anyways, to treat this anemia, you have blood products, drug treatment. They have something called erythropoietin. It's a synthetic erythropoietin, which is the initiator of making blood cells. It goes to your kidneys, and your kidneys send the signal to your long bones to make more blood cells. Say, hey, we need this. It should happen naturally. Sometimes it doesn't for whatever reason. Also, replace their volume because blood is very important to keeping your volume boosted up, keeping your heart beating. Sometimes just getting fluid in there will help keep the blood flowing. Oxygen, always oxygen treatment for these anemics. Diet and lifestyle changes. When you have anemia, it's due to an underlying cause. You can eat more red meat, and you can do more stress-inducing exercises, like heavy, high-intensity interval training is really good for your bones because you're giving your long bones the signals to make more blood. So with that, work out hard, eat as much meatless protein as you can to keep yourself healthy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Let's Talk Tickers on Taco Tuesdays. Love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Peace out, Girl Scouts.